And this is IAS 2021 1000 most important question series which we have been running on our Gradeup platform. And I welcome you all again. My name is Kunwar Prateek. I teach economy and current affairs on Gradeup platform. And we have been discussing every Thursday at 1 p.m. 1000 most important questions for Civil Services 2021 Prelims. And this is the 31st lecture in that series. Good afternoon, Ashneet. How are you? Thank you, Ashneet. Now, let's start with today's lecture. Now, the first question for today is, before I start the first question, let me just tell you guys that we are running a Gradeup Super sale on the occasion of Christmas, that is December to Remember offer, in which you will get flat 20% off plus up to 40% off on buying our Gradeup Super subscription for UPSC Civil Services and EPFO exams, in which you get access to our live courses and mock tests. So I urge you guys to buy now. Okay, now moving on to the first question for the day. The first question for the day is, in the balance of payment, the current account records what? A, foreign investments, B, World Bank loans, C, international purchases, or D, trade in services. You have 40 seconds to answer the question. In the balance of payment account, the current account records what? Welcome, Sandhya. Okay, most of the people are reverting as the answer to this question is D. Most of the people are saying that. Please, guys, answer. Now, I'll answer. You know that the balance of payment has two accounts. One is the current account. Another is the capital account. Current account records the trade in goods and services. So export and import of goods and services are recorded on the current account along with the invisibles, that is remittances. That is part of current account. On the capital account side, all the borrowing, all the international earning, that is FDI, FIIs, international government loans, and external commercial borrowings, all are the part of capital account. Here the question was balance of payment current account. So in the current account, we have trade in services. So your answer will become D, that is trade in services is a part of current account in balance of account payments. Okay. Now, let's move on to the second question. Now, second question for the day is, there are two lists given. You have to match. So there is match the list 1 and 2 and select the correct code using it. List 1 has Vanchu Committee, Rangarajan Committee, Dutt Committee and Nanjugudappa Committee. And list 2 has balance of payment, direct taxes, rail fare and industrial licensing. You have to match which committee was for which issue. You have 40 seconds to answer the question. Which committee was for what? Please answer the question. Deepak Biswal is saying D as an answer to this question. Guys, please answer. Now, please don't Google it. If you start Googling it, that defeats the entire purpose of the session. Ashneet is saying C, Vikram is saying A, Nanika is saying D, Pankaj is saying D. Okay. Now I'll answer this question. See, Vanchu committee was for direct taxes. Okay. Then Rangarajan committee was for balance of payment. So your A is 2. So A is 2, either your answer can be C or D. Now your B is Rangarajan committee. So if you know these two committees, you can answer the question. Your answer is C. Because B in other option is not 1. So your answer becomes C. Dutt committee was for industrial licensing and Nanjgoppa committee was for railway fares. So your answer is C. That is, Vanchu committee was for direct taxes, this was for balance of payment, this was for industrial licensing, and this was for railway fare. Now let's move on to question number 3. Consider the following statements regarding inflation. 1. Inflation is associated with sustained fall in prices. 2. Excess supply of money may cause inflation. Which of the following statements given above are correct? Please, this is a very easy question. Please answer. You have 40 seconds. Please answer. Nanika is saying C. All the answers are B. Some is saying A, somebody is saying B, somebody is saying C. C, okay. Now I'll answer the question. What is inflation? Inflation is basically, in simple terms, price rise. When prices of goods and services in an economy rise persistently over a sustained period of time, that is called inflation. When they fall on a sustained level, then it is called deflation. So this statement is deflation, not inflation. So this statement is wrong. So A is wrong. First statement is wrong. Now second statement says that excess supply of money may cause inflation. What does excess supply mean? When people have more money in their hands. The statement says when people have more money in their hands, it leads to price rise. This statement is absolutely correct. Why? Because when people have more money in their hands, they start demanding more. When they demand more, but the supply of goods and services is at a certain level. So when supply is at a certain level and demand starts to go up, it is creating a mismatch between demand and supply. So something which is lesser in supply and is demanded in more, that will lead to the price rising in the goods or services. Supply is less, demand is more. So the product's price will rise until the supply catches up with the demand. So this statement is absolutely right. So the answer to this question becomes B. That is, statement 2 is absolutely correct. Good afternoon, Ajit. Let's move on to the next question. The next question is, consider the following statements regarding gross national product, GNP. 1. It is the value of total. It is the total value of all the final goods and services in a given period by means of production owned by country's citizens. Statement 2. Any output produced by foreign residents within the country's border must be excluded in the calculation of gross national product. Which of the statements given above are correct? A. 1 only, 2. B. 2 only, C. Both statement 1 and 2 are right, and D. Neither 1 nor 2 are right. Ashneet has already given the answer. He is saying that the answer to this question is C. Sita is saying C. Sanju is saying D. Neha is saying good afternoon, Neha. Okay. Now let me tell you the difference between what is gross domestic product GDP and GNP. It will be clear to you with this. When we talk of GDP, it basically means the total value of all the final goods and services in a given period produced within the boundaries of a nation. So in GDP calculation, it does not matter that who is doing the production. Okay. So both Indian people who are producing goods and services in India and foreigners who are producing goods and services in India will be calculated in the India's GDP. But when it comes to gross national product, that is national is the keyword. That here the emphasis is on who is producing it, not where is it being produced. So here the focus is on national citizen. So statement 1 is absolutely correct. Now when we are calculating the gross national product, we have to add what Indian citizens are producing abroad, and we have to subtract what foreign citizens are producing in India. So we need to calculate the net foreign income. So this statement is also absolutely right. So the answer to this question becomes C, both 1 and 2. Both statements are right. Okay. Now let's move on to the fifth question. The bonus brought by inflation to the borrower is known as what? A, inflation spiral. B, inflation premium. C, inflation gap. Or D, inflation accounting. Please answer the question. Okay. Most of the people are saying B as an answer. Okay. So now let me answer what the answer to this question. The answer to this question is B. Why is it B? What happens to a borrower when inflation rises? Let's say a lender has lent you 1,000 rupees at an interest rate of 10% per annum. So every 1 year, the borrower will pay a 10% interest to the lender. So now the lender will get 100 rupees every year per annum. Now let's say that the inflation has risen. So this 100 rupees, which was of value 100 when the inflation was 0, now when the inflation has risen, the buying capacity of this 100 rupee has reduced. So it is basically a premium for borrower. Lender, whenever inflation rises, lender is at a loss because lender's money which is being returned is in diminished value, but borrowers have a better chance because they are giving in economic terms, real economic terms, the value of that 100 rupees is actually reduced because of inflation. So it is basically inflation premium. Now let's move on to question number 6. Question number 6 says, which among the following is the correct regarding inflation targeting? A, It is a monetary policy regime in which RBI announces inflation targets to the public. B. It is fiscal policy regime in which government expenditure and revenue generation policies take into account inflationary effect. Okay. So now answer C. Both the statements are correct. D. Neither of the statements are correct. Please answer the question. Please answer the question. Now, let me answer the question. What is inflation target? It is a mechanism through which inflation is controlled. It is internationally accepted norm. So in inflation targeting, the central bank of any country gives out inflation targets to the public and becomes responsible and accountable for adhering to those targets. So it is a monetary policy regime. So RBI announced it. This is absolutely right. And when inflation targeting is the main motto of central bank, then in India what has happened? Government has signed a agreement with RBI for inflation targeting. So here it is not just the responsibility of RBI to target inflation, because RBI will try and keep inflation in the check, in the target range. But if government starts to spend a lot, that will have an effect on inflation, because people will have more money then. Thus, fiscal policy regime of the government, expenditure and revenue generation policy also have to take in account the inflationary impact of their expenditure and revenue policy. So this is absolutely right. So the answer to your question becomes C. Both the statements are right. Okay, currently the inflation, under the inflation targeting regime, government RBI has announced 2% to 6% of inflation target. Ideally, RBI wants the inflation to be 4%, but 2% below 4% and 2% above 4% leeway is allowed to RBI to control the inflation. So the answer to this question is C. That is, both statement 1 and 2 are correct. Moving on to question number 7. Demand pull inflation occurs when? When does demand pull inflation occur? 1. A. Wages and other cost rises. B. Excessive demand for commodities pull up their prices. C. Very less demand of commodities pull down the prices. D. Wages and costs fall. Or E. None of above reasons are the reasons for demand pull inflation. Please answer the question. Most of the people are saying B as an answer. The answer to this question is B. I just told you while I explained inflation that inflation can be for 3 reasons. One is the demand side factors, another is supply side factor, and third is structural factors. Demand side is when the demand in the economy pushes the prices up. So this is the correct answer. Supply side is that when the supply is not rising, or the cost of supplying, cost of production becomes expensive, then also price rises. That is supply side. And third reason is structural issues in the economy, that there are infrastructure bottlenecks, there is reform pending in sectors which is leading to higher prices. That is also a reason for inflation. But the question here is demand pull. When people have more money, they start demanding more, and because of the rising demand, the prices of commodities increase. That is called demand pull in inflation. So the answer is B. Next question, eighth question. Assertion and reason. Statutory liquidity ratio. Assertion is statutory liquidity ratio is an instrument of fiscal policy. Reason is it is used to control the money supply. Your option are both are A, assertion, and reason are true, and reason is the correct explanation for assertion. B, both assertion and reason are true, but reason is not the correct explanation for A. C, A is true, R is false, or D, A is false and R is true. Please answer the question. So most of the people have given the right answer to this question. The answer to this question is D. Why? Because statutory liquidity ratio is a monetary policy tool available with the RBI. So it is a monetary policy tool, not a fiscal policy tool. So this statement is assertion is absolutely wrong. And what does monetary policy do? It tries and control money supply. So this reason is absolutely right. So your answer becomes A statement is assertion is wrong, reason is true. Your answer is B. Let's move on to the ninth question for the day. With reference to the measures of tenancy reforms in land reforms, which of the statement is correct? That tenancy reforms deal with regulation of rent, 2, security of tenure, 3, conferment of ownership to tenants. Which of the statements or options are right? A, only 1, B, 1 and 2, C, 2 and 3, and D, 1, 2 and 3. Please answer the question. Tenancy reforms deal with land reforms which are done for tenant farmers who take land on rent and do farming. See, I have given you so much clue. Okay, let me now answer. Land reforms in India primarily focused on 3 things. One was abolition of intermediaries, that is abolition of primarily zamindari system. Second was bringing in ceiling on how much land can be owned by an individual and a household. And third focused on tenancy reforms, which is reforms which have to be brought in for people who take land for rent and grow and do agriculture. Under the tenancy reform, all these 3 things, regulation of rent, security of tenure, and conferment of ownership right to the tenants was done. So the answer to this question is D. Your answer is 1, 2 and 3 all are right. Let's move on to the last question for the day, that is the 10th question. This is an assertion reasoning question. Assertion is indicative planning is an effort to solve the problems of imperfect information in the market. Reason is Indicative planning also gives tax rebate to individuals. Your options are both A, assertion and reasons are true, and R is correct explanation for A. B is both A and R are true and R is not a correct explanation for A. C is A is true, R is false. And D is A is false, R is true. Please answer the question. Okay. Most of the people is saying D is the answer. Okay. My dear friends, all of you are wrong. All of you are wrong. Let me explain. India, when became independent, adopted indicative, not indicative, but imperative model of planning. What happened in imperative model of planning? There was asymmetry of information. Government sector dominated, government sector decided what is to be done. So there was asymmetry of information about market between private sector and public sector. When after 1991, Government of India adopted indicative planning model, which meant that government is not going to practice command planning, imperative planning. It is going to provide a felicitative regulatory framework by announcing policies in such a way that government nudges or incentivizes private sector with providing information about markets properly, so that whichever sector government of India wants to develop more, it incentivizes that sector. So information is provided. So problem of imperfect information in market is removed. So this is absolutely right. Now, in indicative planning, individuals are not given tax rebate. There are sectoral incentives announced. Sectoral rebates are announced. Individuals are not given tax benefit, but sectors are given. That you invest in this sector, then you will be provided such and such relief. So individuals are not given tax rebate. So this statement becomes wrong. Sectoral incentive is provided. Thus your answer becomes C. That is, A is true, assertion is true, but the reason is wrong. So your answer is C. I hope now, yes, indicative planning sectoral incentive is given. Now, I hope you liked the session which we conducted. Now, before I end, I again will announce we are conducting a Gradeup Super sale in which you are going to get flat 20% plus up to 40% off on our Gradeup Super subscription for UPSC Civil Services Examination EPFO exam, which will provide you access to our live courses and mock tests. So I'll urge you to buy now if you haven't. Now at Gradeup Super, to help you guys prepare better in your exam preparation, we are starting and currently running a comprehensive course for GS Prelims come main, both in English and Hindi medium. We are going to be starting a IAS 2021 comprehensive course for Prelims, which are going to start on 29th of December. Aarti, I will show you question number 1 and 9. Good, Ashni, very good. Now, under this course, you will get 350 live GS classes, 350 plus PDFs, additional classes, 30 mock tests for prelims, 12 for mains. Then we are conducting currently 3 courses, comprehensive course for GS prelims and mains, for EPFO, for NCRT. We are currently running these courses. Apart from that, you will be taught by our star faculties such as Naman Sir for economics, Vasu Katara Sir, internal security and ethics, B. Teja Sai Sir for science and technology expert. Now Himani Suri Ma'am and Shailen Singh Sir will teach you NCRTs. Harshmeet Sir is polity expert. Rohan Tyagi Sir is geography and ecology expert, and then there is me, Kunwar Prateek. I teach economy and current affairs on Gradeup platform. So this is the current prices, but you will get a discount under our Christmas offer, 20% flat off plus up to 40% off. Now we are conducting daily classes, free classes for you guys on our Gradeup app. Daily editorial at 12 p.m, UPSC EPFO at 5 p.m, special 5 lecture series at 7 p.m, GS for IAS ranker series at 8 p.m, and daily current affairs at 9 p.m. With these announcements, I take your leave. Somebody has asked me to show question number 1 and 2. So I will go back to question number 1 and 2 so that you can take a screenshot. This is the question number 1. You can take the screenshot. Now, answer is D. Then we move on to question number 2. You can take a screenshot. And answer to this question is C. Question number 3, I will move on, is this. You can take a screenshot. And the answer to this question is B. So with this, I think everybody must have taken the screenshots. With this, I thank you guys for joining me for this session. I'll see you guys in my free as well as paid classes. Till then, bye-bye. And thank you very much, and a very happy and a Merry Christmas to all of you. Thank you very much.